What's happening, folks? I believe we are live on the interwebs. We're about to get started with another accountability success circle quickie.
Woot woot.
So hop into the chat, hop into the comments, let us know that you're watching live, hashtag live or hashtag replay. Either one works for us. Today we're talking about the benefits of having clear personal values. Regardless if you have values or not, you're going to want to tune into this because it is going to be amazing. All right. Enough of my gabbing. April, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We're going to come at you in 3, 2, 1. Here we are.
We should plan like a pose.
Right?
For the next one that we do, so that that is complementary to whatever. We'll plan that out. We'll make it fun.
Yes.
Yay!
Some Charlie's Angel style.
Yes. And it's Wednesday, so happy hump day to everyone.
Yes.
We're doing quickies on hump day. Uh-oh.
Let's get down with it. And so if you are not familiar who we are, we are the Accountability Success Circle Success Team. Yay. I am Gary Ware, and I'm joined by the ever so beautiful
April Schluter.
Yay. And we are just bringing you just the tips just to help you live a happy and fulfilled life in our amazing, thriving community, the Accountability Success Circle. This month, our theme is Groove. And we are, I can't believe it, we are coming upon our annual planning retreat.
It's in 1 month, folks.
It's in 1 month. I'm super excited. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but down to the topic du jour, which is all about values. So, first question for all of y'all is: do you have values that you sort of are intentional about? We all have values, whether you like it or not. But do you have values? Put it in the chat, and we're going to talk about why it's important to have crystal clear values.
Yeah. I have values tattooed on my arms as of 2019. So, as you probably can guess, this is a super important topic to me personally, and Gary as well. Yes. And it has to do very much with part of the annual planning process. So we just thought we'd give you a little bit of an insight. And some of the attendees who are already going will be getting an assignment with regards to personal values. So that's going to be super exciting. And this will be like the little preview to those of you outside if you're kind of curious about what this annual planning retreat is. We'll be able to talk about that a little bit later. But we wanted to share 3 different ways or 3 different benefits to having personal values. And, to be honest, I didn't really start crafting my values till I was 35. I didn't even know that was a thing, or maybe I did, but I didn't really care too much or see the impact. So we're going to share a little bit of that with you right now. So should we just dive into it?
Yeah, let's dive into it. All right, number 1 is they become your personal compass.
Personal compass. You want me to talk?
Yeah, kick it off because you're the one with it tattooed on your arm, so you know best.
So the thing about values is these are just words that, you resonate with that kind of can be the drivers for your life. They can be the drivers for what motivates you, the drivers of your happiness, the drivers of just making decisions. And I see Steven says he hasn't figured his out, and he's 41. So maybe now is the time to get in there. So when things feel off, it's really great to point to your own personal values to help kind of steer the way. I love when I'm not really sure if I want to commit to something. I kind of run them through this compass of my values. The 4 that I have on my arms are fun, accomplishment, connection, and authenticity. And so when I'm trying to make a decision about something that I want to do, because I tend to want to say yes to everything because I love doing a whole bunch of things, I first ask myself, is this something that's going to be fun for me? Is this something that's going to have this feeling of accomplishment? Am I going to be able to connect with people as a result of it? or, connect to something that is meaningful to me? And am I going to be able to be my true self? So, one of the things that happened in my past was I had an audition for a popular game show that has been around for years. And one of the things that happened in my very last audition, they were asking me to change some of the answers of my personality survey that I filled out, because they didn't think it was good enough, or they didn't like it. And so, kind of a way to kind of deal with the fact that I didn't get it. One of those things was I wasn't able to show up as my authentic self. They wanted me to use the money to go on a second honeymoon with my husband. And I love my husband and everything, but there are other things that I'd rather spend the money on because I travel a lot, and that wasn't as tying to to me, or it wasn't as big of an incentive to me as it could have been to spend a large sum of prize money like that. So that's kind of how I help use values to help make decisions. Gary, do you have anything to add to it?
Yeah, values aren't just for companies, and to be honest, most companies are probably doing it wrong anyway. They put the values that makes them look great, but as Brene Brown talks about in her book Daring to Lead, when you have values, you should ask yourself, how do you step into those values? What does it look like? And it's unique to each person. And for people like Stephen, who are 41 or whatever your age is, and you still haven't figured out values yet, like I said at the top, we all have things that we value. We all have things that ring true to us. It's all about just being intentional. Because if you're not intentional, you're going to be unconsciously walking through life. And maybe those values might have served you when you were younger, but they may not be something that is serving you now. And you might be wondering, what's up with that? And so, my main thing here is, as coaches, we talk about how can we sort of optimize all areas of our life? And most, if you're a coach out there, or if you've done coaching, you probably are familiar with the wheel of life. It's just a way to evaluate all areas of your life. And one of the cool things about having crystal clear values is that you can look at each of those areas, and it's just another, again, it's your compass, it's your, way to have a barometer of how things are going. You can look at, maybe one of the areas that may not be going in alignment on the wheel of life, and look at your values, and it can be a clue of how you can step up. A personal story for me, going into 2021, I was realizing, just because of things with the pandemic and whatnot, I wasn't really stepping into health and wellness how I was before, because things have changed. And so I use my values as a way to say, oh, all right, since for me it's all about curiosity, playfulness, and connection, how can I sort of experiment with something new? And that led me to getting on the Peloton train, and here we go. So again, it's a compass. Yeah. Should we move on to number 2?
Yeah, and we kind of spoke a little bit about this in tip 1. I kind of was jumping the gun and getting super excited. But number 2 is the fact that values can help you with decision making. To speak a little bit more deeper to that, I think when there are a lot of unknowns, and I always say this when it comes to trying to strategize how to do a certain thing, because I am a true believer that there is, from getting to point A to point B, there's a million different ways that you can get from the one point to the other. It's just a matter of what you choose. So allowing your values to be your compass to kind of guide you down those paths, you're going to need those same values to be able to make the decisions. And so, going back to the examples that I was using, and that Gary was using, thinking about what are our I'm getting distracted because my dog is deciding he wants to chew on his chew toy. I don't know if you guys can hear that. So sorry.
I can. I was grooving to that. He's like, wicka, 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 wicka.
I want to be a part of this live stream too. So thinking about, trying to choose, path A or path B, let's say, I'm going to read a book, or let's say like maybe I'm going to join a book club, or I'm going to, just, take an online course. So I will think about like, okay, I can go one of two routes, and maybe I'll choose the book club because it allows me to do connection, which is one of my values. It is accomplishment, like I'm actually going to read and not just say I'm going to read. Whereas in the online course, I'm going to be doing the course by myself. And yeah, I might get that accomplishment, but I'm getting, more of my values honored in this choice instead of doing a book club. So I'm going to choose that over just taking an online course where I can, have the learning. So using this is just kind of a great way to like really quickly figure out where, what direction you want to go, and not sit there and be like, oh my God, there's so many options, analysis paralysis. Use your values as a decision maker for you. How about you, Gary? Anything to add there?
Yeah, that's again the big thing here is we are going through this thing called life. There's a lot of unknowns, and anything that we can grasp onto that's a signal to help us be more of who we are. I call that a win. So yeah, you nailed all the big things on the head. If I can just add accountability, helping us stay accountable to ourselves. That is again one of the things with values, and like I said earlier, these values can change over time. So for those of you who are indecisive, if you aren't sure what your values are, you can toy around with a few, and you can ask some questions and see what feels good, and you can experiment and see, hey, is this helping me be more in alignment with who I am? And this is, again, as April mentioned, this is a teaser of what we go through with our yearly planning retreat. And yeah, one of the reasons why I love it so much is because we get to check in. When do you have time to really sort of check in with yourself and say, hey, am I on course, or do I need to adjust the rudder slightly? So without further ado, I think we need to jump into number 3.
Number 3, let's hear it.
It helps you connect with others.
Yes. What I love about values is the fact that you can find your tribe, the people who you're meant to be around. And one of the funny things when we were talking about this is that like Gary and I met through a random internet, right? Many, many years ago. We live in 2 different cities. We never knew each other growing up. But then what was interesting when we went through the annual planning retreat, our first annual planning retreat last year, we went through the exercise of honing in to our own values. And I kind of have been kind of crafting and refining mine over the course of the years, enough to be able to like tattoo them on my arms. But Gary, what were the values that were kind of showing up for you?
Yeah, my big ones, like I said before, curiosity, playfulness, and connection. Those are like my main ones.
Yeah. So you see that like the 2 of us are very, like we have the same value of connection that is in our top values. And playfulness, I kind of equate to fun. What's great about values is that you can, use the word that best describes you, but then there is that connection there. And so the connection between the 2 of us is our value of connection. So just the fact that you can use these as a tool to say, where do we stand and where do we align when it's somebody external to you? You can also see, probably if you did, a values assessment of like one of your frenemies or something like that, you might see some opposing values in that sense. And so I like to kind of say sometimes when I choose not to engage in a close relationship with a friend, I can say that, or anyone, or if there's somebody who is like a leader that I don't necessarily resonate with, I can say, we don't have the same personal values, which is okay. There's people who have different values all across the world, and we all have to figure out how to coexist, but then also knowing what drives us personally. And it can also help you understand why conflicts occur, because when conflicts are occurring between two different people is probably because of what is important to each person, and they could be in conflict with each other. So if somebody really cares about connection and somebody else really cares about like isolation or something like that, they might not spend too much time together because they value two different things. What about you, Gary? What do you have to add?
Yeah. It's all about once you start stepping in and really living into your values, it's going to show. And, like the phrase, as cliche as it is, it's so true. And that maybe that's why it's cliche. Your vibe attracts your tribe. I know personally, before like really stepping into personal development and learning a lot of this, I wasn't as sort of authentic. I thought I was, but again, I was, more of like, oh, how should I act to, fit in or to be in certain environments? And, don't get me wrong. It's not like people are like, you're not really you. Who are you? It wasn't that. It's just internal. Like I felt a little off. But once I started again stepping into it and say, no, I'm a playful person, and that means doing X, Y, and Z. It started to shine, and other people started to show up. And yes, you're going to detract people. People are going to be like, nah, not my thing. But again, it's all about authenticity and you being you. So, that's what I got. And those are our 3 tips on
So if
values.
You're 41 years old and you don't have your values, there is and maybe Gary, we can share, the values assessment that, we are using this year with some of the people in our community. But if you, or people who are coming to the retreat, but even better would be to come to the retreat. And so what we wanted to share, if you're kind of curious about, hearing more about the retreat, there is a link that Gary is going to share that helps you kind of just see what this is all about. It is a weekend, a month from today, October 8th through 10th. You can do it virtually. You can do it in person in California with us. You can also just do it as an on-demand course. If that date doesn't work for you, you can still sign up and go through the process of creating your own value, or, looking at your values, figuring out, where you're at, and then helping craft a plan for 2022. And definitely just check it out. If anything, if you do sign up for the retreat, you get an automatic lifetime subscription to the ASC, because the ASC is a paid community. But if you're going to, jump into it, then we want to give you that gift of never having to pay that monthly or annual fee ever again, because the annual planning retreat is, basically like the most favorite thing that I love about this retreat, and bringing people together to like create some awesome plans that we can then hold them accountable to throughout the course of the year. So check that out. If not, then you can always go to accountabilitysuccesscircle.com to just understand what the community is. And what's so great about the community is that like a lot of the people that it has attracted has been based on some of the values that Gary and I have ourselves. And so the types of people who are in the ASC are people who like to connect, like to, be their authentic selves, like to have fun. So if you want to be around and like to accomplish things. So if you want to be a part of that, just come join us and just come hang out anyways, and just let us know what you're working on. And so we could be your cheerleaders and help you get through it and have some awesome success. So all right, I guess that's it. So we'll see you again soon.
Yeah. All right. Till next time. Bye, y'all.